Hello there guys, and welcome back to our car modeling tutorial. And today in this episode what we're going to do I think I'm going to actually move on to some of the grills. Start to have a little bit of a go of what it should look like here. As you can see, it's took me a few different attempts to kind of hopefully get it right. It's super tricky. Before we do get into that though, we do have our wheels in place here. So I made those in a separate file, and then I brought those across and I've dropped them inside some tyres, and then I've just thrown some brakes behind. I'm not going to go into how to build those. I'll maybe do a separate tutorial if you guys would like, on how to specifically build some like Brembo brakes and drill discs and all that good stuff. But I've just used some what I've got in the past, and then I've put on some tyres that I had in the past as well. And if you want a tutorial for tyres, maybe I could do one of those at some point as well. What I will do is I will add these tyres and the brakes here as a project files on the actual project on the website. So I'll link that in the description. If you head over to the website, you'll be able to download those files. You can merge them in with the alloy wheels. Now, one thing I did do before we move on with the alloys is I did add an extra line at the top of these kind of weird little cut spokes here. I just added a line going across each of those, and the reason that I did that is just because I had a little bit too much curve there. So I added a line up there just to kind of show that up a little bit. And then what I also did was I just give it some diamond cut faces. I'm not 100% sure if I'm liking that just yet, but I thought diamond cut with the black offset, I thought that looked quite cool. So let's have a little think then about what we're going to do. We're going to have a go at building the grille inside here. It is a little bit weird, but hopefully I've got it nailed out and looking exactly how it should. And in doing so, finally finding the shape that I think it should look like, I've actually found a much easier way to do it than what I did as I was building these. So hopefully it will be okay as we move forward. So we'll try and get this done. We also have mesh in other areas of the vehicle here, so we'll maybe create and add those in as well. Now, this kind of weird honeycomb that it's got, which is kind of stepped in and all around about, this appears in the main grille here. A slightly smaller version is in these two grills at the front here. We've already got the housing for those, which is good. It also appears at the back in the lower portion of the grill here. So I'm just having a look at my reference images real quick, and as part of that lower portion there, it does look like it uses the honeycomb grill too, but we probably won't get that far. What I would like to do as part of this episode is I would like to get maybe the front portions nailed, and maybe hopefully onto the side here, because this is a slightly different honeycomb, so we need to make a small little bit for that too. So let's have a think of this then. So I'm going to leave this here just as like a little bit of a reference, but I don't need these, so I'm just going to get rid of these, and I'm only going to need one of these. So let's just create that and bring it over here. So in order to build this, what we'll do is we will go to create Polygon Primitives, and I'm going to bring in a pipe. I'm just going to bring that out to the front here, up and inside there. Let's rotate this around. So we'll rotate that forward 90 degrees. Now let's think of the sizing. So we can see at the front here that we've got these portions in. We can see that we've got the parking sensors built into them as well. So I'm going to go on my inputs here. For my radius, let's take the radius down. Let's maybe try something like 0.2. That's not bad. Let's maybe go for a radius of 0.15. That looks like it should be okay. I'm going to reduce the subdivision axis to 6, obviously, so it's going to match what we're working with inside here. And then let's go and reduce the thickness down. Let's try 0.01. 0.01 looks like it's probably going to be okay. I think I did a bit bigger there, but I think 0.01 should probably be fine. I'm going to grab my vertex here and just pull them up so that they're aligning with what's above and below there. Something like that. Okay, so we're looking good. And then just to make it easier, I'm going to hold down right click, I'm going to select all these faces here, and then we're just going to work with this frontal portion here. Okay. So we're looking like this kind of outer edge, which is good. Now I think what we're going to want to do first is let's maybe add the required edges here. If we look at this from the side, it's almost perfectly straight. I think it is perfectly straight for the most part, and then this part steps out there. So let's maybe add some edge loops inside here. So we're going to go in nice and close, and I'm going to say Mesh Tools, Insert Edge Loop. And we can see here that this is like the horizontal portions inside of each of these. So I'm going to drop it for what looks like its lowest point, and then it's extruded in to create that back section. So we'll drop one here and maybe here. I'm just going to use the pixels for reference, and I'm going to do the same on this side, here and here. Do the same at the top. So again, I'm using those pixels for references. And it's a little bit harder on the other side, but hopefully it'll look something like that. Okay. Now let's jump out here, and we're going to want to bridge this together. So I'm going to grab these edges here, and we'll go Edit Mesh, and we'll hit Not Bevel. Oops. And we'll just roll that back. If I can. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to grab these edges again, and we'll go to Edit Mesh, and we're going to hit Bridge. So I'm going to bridge those across, and then we're going to do the exact same with these lower ones here as well. So I'm going to bridge those inside there. Now, before we move on, what I want to do with this is I'm going to jump back in my front view. I'm going to go onto my vertex here, and I'm going to bring in my transform constraint of my edge slide so I can move these up and down just a little bit. And I'm just going to pull these so that they're following those pixels just a little bit nicer. The outer ones here move up, and that's because they're in relation to these ones because they're edge loops. I'm actually going to bring these down so that they're straight. I'm going to do that on both sides. And bring that one down too. And then we'll do the exact same down here. So we just want to make sure we're running a little bit better along that pixel here and here. And then again, we want this to be nice and straight. It doesn't have to be perfect. We could hold V if we move the camera slightly, but I think we'll be good like that. Okay, and then we can see on here that all we really want to do is we just want to pull these bits out. So I'm just going to grab all these edges here, and I want to turn off my transform now, and all we want to do is pull that out. So let's go to our side view. And we'll pull that out just something like that. And then what we also want to do is we want to grab these ones here and here. And we also want to pull these ones forward as well, so that they're nice and flush on there. Okay, let's grab some edges here then. So let's go and take these outside edges, like so. I'm going to hit Control E. I'm going to pull these in, and I'm just going to snap some of these back. So I'm going to use a target weld. We'll snap that one back, and we'll snap that one back, and then we'll do the same over here. And I've actually brought in all of that stuff from before, so I'll sort that in a second. So I'll bring these in here. Okay. Okay, that's the background fixed there. So let's then move over here, and what we want is we want all of these. Let me just bring my edge loop here. We want all of these here to be nice and flat, nice and level. So I'm just going to grab all of this, all of these ones. I'm going to ignore those ones. We'll grab all of these, and with my scale tool, I'm just going to pull those in. So my camera will stop jumping. I'm just going to pull those in all the way so that they're straight, and then we can pull it back out, and we'll know when we're in the right spot because this here should sit nice and flush there, like so. So we know all of that around there is nice and straight, which looks like it should be okay. Let's now go and grab all of the inner portions. So I'm going to grab this bit, go for this bit and this bit. I'm going to hit Control E. So I'm going to extrude this in, and then I'm going to straighten this off as well. And we're just going to go something like that. Now on some of these grills, on the rear grill I think, it leaves the gaps inside here. Obviously that's to let air flow out. the back, so any of the warm engine inside the engine bay when we're working around here. So around the back here, I think they've got holes in, so that's to let all the heat leave. At the front here though, these are filled in, and I think the reason for that is for less drag going through the car. So what we'll do is we'll do the same. So we're going to grab each of these. I'm going to go to mesh, mesh and fill hole. Same here and same here. And then I'm just going to use the multi-cut tool to bring these across in there. Okay, so a little bit more work to do on these first. So let's go here, and I'm going to grab these vertices inside here as part of that extrusion. But we're going to go one at a time, because again we're going to want to make sure we have our transform constraint on our edges. So I'm going to grab this one here. Okay, so I'm going to go there, and I'm just going to pull this one up here to match what we have up here, and then do the same inside here. I'll pull this one up too, something like that. And then I think the top one wants to go as well, something like that, and then something like that. Okay, so to make something this complex, unfortunately there's no real easy way to do it. So we'll just have a go at bringing those in there. I do think that maybe these are a little bit deeper. Just need to turn my transform off. Maybe something just like that. Okay, so that's looking nice. So what we're going to want to do then is we're going to want to duplicate this a whole heap of times. What I'll probably do is I'll probably duplicate it a little bit with you guys, and then what I'll do is I'll maybe pause the recording and we'll come back once I've got the whole lot done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab one, and let's just test this first. So I'm going to hold down D on my keyboard and V at the same time, so D and V to move the pivot, and I'm just going to snap this here to this top left hand corner. I'm going to hit Ctrl D to duplicate, so now I've got two, and holding V I'm going to snap this over here onto that vertices, and we can see that that's aligning there quite nicely. Okay, let's do Ctrl D, holding V, and we'll bring this down here, and we can see again that's all lining up there quite nicely. So when we bring all these in, it's starting to make sense in terms of the actual grille inside here for the car. So that's looking quite nice. What we could do inside here if we wish is we could bevel a little bit. So we can maybe grab all of these edges around here and these ones up here. Let's see, maybe just a 0.5 and a 1. So we could bevel those a little bit just to make them a little bit cleaner. I think that looks a little bit better inside there. We don't want to make sure we don't want to affect these far edges here as they come in. Let's maybe bevel these as well. Maybe we could bevel all of these inner edges. We don't want to go too much detail on this because we don't want to increase the poly count like crazy. We're not too fussed about the poly count, but we don't want to go nuts. Let's maybe bevel those again just to see how they would look. I don't think that'll offer too much to it, so maybe what we'll do is we'll just leave the frontal ones. That's fine. Okay, so what we're going to want to do then with these is we're going to want to hit Ctrl D, and we're going to want to bring this down and snap it to our vertices here, just on this lower one. And we're going to want to do this a couple of times. And we're going to want to do this until we get all the way down to the bottom here. So I think what we need is just one more. And we'll go down there. Okay, I think that's looking nice, and we'll go in here. So I brought all of those in. So what I'm going to do just now is I'm going to grab each of these. I'm going to go to mesh and we'll hit combine. And then I just want to run through and just merge all the vertices for this. So I'm just going to edit mesh and then merge. And I'm just going to do that for all of the adjoining vertices here. Luckily this is nice big elements of mesh, so it means that it's not going to take too long to run through and do the merging as we go there. And then what we're going to want to do is we are going to want to hit Control D. So we're going to hit Control D on this. We're going to bring this over. Let's go and hold D and V, and we're going to drop that to that same spot up here. Just going to make sure we're all the way up there, which we are. I'm going to hold V on the keyboard, and we're going to bring this down here because we're going to want to then go and merge all of these points down here. What we also actually want to do, what I should have done before, is we do need an extra one up here. So again, D and V, this time we'll go down to the bottom, like so, holding down V, let's just snap that just here. Okay, so that's it nicely, and then I'm not going to need all of this anymore. Okay, so back there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to merge all of these together. So we've got these two here, let's merge those. And then what I'll do is I'm just going to run through and I'm going to target weld all of these vertices together all the way down this edge to the bottom. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate again and again and again and again all the way until we've got this completed. So what I'll do is I'm going to pause the recording just here. I'm going to run through until I've got the whole of this front grille laid out, and then what I'll do is I'll check back in and we'll move on to the next steps. Okay, wow, that was a pain, but I think we are good. Let me just pause the music I had going whilst we got through that. So that's not looking too bad. So we've got this in place now. We're looking good in terms of the front view here, and I kept a couple of iterations of it just in case. I'm going to do the same with this. I'm going to hit Control D and we're going to take that over there, and this is the one that we're going to work with just now. So we can see now that we're looking really nice on this. I think that is looking about as good as we're going to get in terms of that kind of honeycomb grill style. So that's looking really nice. So let's have a go now at getting this in place. So let's maybe try and bring it to where we think it should be, roughly in the middle here. So let's maybe go, we can see we've got some points here. So we'll maybe drop that just there. There's a few ways we could do this. We could maybe try soft selection. I don't think that will be the cleanest because it's so complex. So let's maybe go for, let's go for deform, and we'll go for lattice inside here. Now in our channel box, let's make a change here. So let's maybe go for something like, let's try 10, 10, and then 1. Oh, 2 is the default, 10, 10. Maybe because it looks roughly twice as wide as it is high, so maybe let's actually go for 10, 5, 2, so that we've got nice squares inside here. And obviously the less we have to worry about, the better. But obviously we do want to be able to drag enough around. So what this lattice modifier is going to do is it's going to allow us to affect certain points of this, which should be quite nice. So with this here, let's maybe go and hold down right click here. I'm going to change to lattice point. And when we're in lattice point, we can select these like we would any vertices, and you can see when we pull this, it's going to kind of deform that object to suit. So let's have a go at deforming this. So maybe let's grab these top points here and pull them to where we think they should probably be. We'll do the same with this next point, something like that. And then we'll bring those in there. So obviously our grill is much bigger than we need it to be, and we want it to be a lot bigger than we need it to be because we will be able to remove bits much easier than it would be to add things on. So that's looking okay. Let's maybe think about the top view. I am going to just do it in my main perspective though, because I want to make sure that we're hitting the mark. So I'm going to grab this one and this one. and pull these back. And what I'm going to do is we created this vent, remember? Well, this outer shroud before. So we're just going to want to work to just go inside there. So we're going to pull that in here. And we can fine tune this all after, but it'll be good to get a nice balance inside here for each of these. Something like that. And I'm grabbing both sides here just so that we edit everything at once. Bring that inside there. Maybe just going to grab this one again real quick. Let's go back a little bit more. Looks like I forgot one. So let me just grab these again. Okay. It's a little bit fiddly when we're using the lattice, but it is a really powerful tool. Okay, and then we'll go for the last edges here. Take that in. Something like that. Now, if you wanted to, you could add more inside here to help. But what we can do is we can start to pull individual ones here. Just to make sure everything is sitting nicely where it should. So we go for this one and this one. And I'm just again doing them in twos, and we're just going to pull those back. Something like that. Okay. I think I'm happy with that. So that's looking really nice. And then what we want to do is, once we're happy with its positioning, we're just going to hit, we're just going to grab this in object mode, and we're going to go edit, and we'll delete all by type of history. And that will get rid of that lattice for us. So now let's jump in, and we're going to want to go around here, and we're going to just want to delete everything we don't want to see. So we can see we've got a lot of stuff protruding out here. So I'm just going to grab any face of anything that I don't want to see, and then hit delete. So I'm going to run around and do this again. I'll pause the recording and we'll come back in once we're good. Alrighty guys, so I think we're good there. Then I've just gone around and deleted anything that we can't see. And let's quickly grab a darker material here. So I'm just going to grab my same that I've been using for all the general rubber, and we'll pull that in there. What we do have on the actual car, if I can have a look a little bit closer on my references here, is it does look like there is quite a lot of these with a couple of holes in, and I think that's due to the fact that there is coolers, might be oil coolers and thing at the front here. So inside here, any of the kind of flat portions, it looks like we're going to want to get rid of, and it looks like we're going to maybe want to go from about where the parking sensor is, which is here. So I think we're on the inner one, and we're on all the ones that are lower than the license plate here. So I think we want to go with there, there and there. I'm just going to delete those as starting points, and then I'm going to say the same over here. So I'm going to grab those and hit delete on those. And it's just the flat faces that we want to get rid of. So all of these. Oops. And I'm just going to make sure I'm in the right spot going down. Yes, I don't really want to go higher than this point, because this is where the license plate portion is going to be. Here. And I'm going to use my perspective view for this, just so that I don't accidentally delete something that I don't want to do. So let's go through all of these. And then what we'll be able to do is we'll be able to drop something in the background here to make it look good. I think I've grabbed too many things there. Grab all of this. So I want to keep those horizontal sections in. then this mesh that we've created in this episode here is going to be used at multiple times, but slightly different scales. And we'll probably just do the same again. We'll grab the lattice deformer, we'll take them in as we go, so let's just get rid of these. All of those. So I think that's looking quite good as we go through there. So that's going to allow some airflow to get inside there. Let's maybe make a little bit here for the license plate. Sometimes I like to add these, sometimes I don't, but let's just see how this looks. If we try and bring this in here. Do something like that, because it does appear to have a... Just trying to check the references here. It does appear to have a small block there when the license plates aren't attached. So let's see how this looks, and if it doesn't look very good, we'll take it away. No, maybe we won't. Maybe we'll get rid of that. Okay, so we've got a couple of minutes left, so we could maybe think about the other vents. I think that's looking really nice across there. I'm just checking my references again. I think that's pretty much spot on, which is good. So maybe what we could do is we could maybe start positioning the next. Let's see what kind of size we need for this. Okay, so we're going to need a little bit more than that. I am not joining any more of those together because it was a pain, so I'll just go over this one. Okay, so I think what we'll do with this is we will do our best just here. Let me take the wireframe off. So let's do our best here to kind of make the rough shape for this. Looks like it should just be about to be okay. Let's get rid of these extras up here and down here. I think we just want to get rid of one more. Okay. Let's go right across the bottom here as well. I'm going to do that from the front view just to make sure I can cut it off square. And then across the top, maybe just there. What I've just realised though, well, what I've just remembered is I'm going to have to bring all that back in, because what we do need to do with this is we do need to scale these down. We can see inside here that they're much, much smaller. So let's try and line one of these up. So let's line up around here, because we have something much more like this, which makes sense. Something like that. So again, maybe go up one. It's going to be awkward if this is not going to sit. Maybe there, that should just do it. And again, let's take this down to size a little bit more. And then maybe here as well. Okay, so that's looking nicer. And maybe we're just going to hit Control D there, and then that can be used for this section down here. And then let's have a go. Maybe we'll have a go. Firstly, we could probably rotate this into position. Okay, looks looks like we maybe took off a bit too much. Let's maybe rotate this roughly into position here. Let's just do a quick test. We'll probably have to, yeah, I think that'll be okay just for now. So what we'll do is we'll maybe leave this episode here, and then what we'll do in the next episode is we'll get this one in place. We'll get it around in that little portion there. I think we'll also create the vent for the side here, which might be quite nice, and then maybe fill in the windows. So we've got the 2 windows around here. We'll get those nailed too. Before moving on, because we do have all the plastics around. I think we've got honeycomb mesh at the top here as well. Okay guys, so if you liked the video, hit the thumbs up. If you didn't, hit the thumbs down. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I will see you in the next one.